The sea has always held memory. Some waves bring shells, some bring storms, but some carry songs that refuse to drown. Off the coast of Georgia in 1803, about 75 souls carved their defiance into the tide. They were Igbo, men and women taken from what is now Nigeria. They were warriors in spirit, unshakable in will, snatched from their homeland, shackled in iron, forced toward fields that promise only pain. But chains cannot silence conviction. They sang, they rose, and they fought back. These men and women had survived the horrors of the Middle Passage, only to be sold in Savannah to plantation owners bound for St. Simon's Island. Their destination was the rice fields, notorious for death, disease, and brutality. The Igbo were chosen because of their deep knowledge of rice cultivation, a knowledge that would take root in the Low Country and later shape the Gullah Geechee culture. But the captors underestimated them. The Igbo were known not only for growing rice, but for growing resistance. As the boat entered Dunbar Creek, the captives rose against their guards. Then, instead of submitting to chains again, they marched into the water together, chanting, "The water spirit brought us, the water spirit will take us home." Most drowned, some were dragged back ashore and sold again. The sailors, shaken but protected by law, faced no punishment. To plantation wreckers, it was simply lost cargo. To the Gullah Geechee descendants, it became a sacred story of freedom. History books often label this as a mass suicide, but that's not what it was. This was not hopelessness. This was a declaration. Just as in Japan, where seppuku or harikari was an honorable refusal to bow to dishonor, the Igbo at Dunbar Creek made their stand. We will not bow to slavery. And that spirit echoes across the diaspora. In New Orleans, the black Indians were still singing on Mardi Gras Day. Won't bow, don't know how. That same defiance flowed in 1803 when the Igbo, stolen from Nigeria, declared that even in death, their dignity was untouchable. The Gullah Geechee people carried this memory like a seed. In their oral traditions, the drowned did not die. Their souls rose and flew back to Africa. The marshes and rice fields of Georgia still whisper at night, "Ora Miri, Ora Miri." It's no coincidence that this act happened in rice country. Rice, called Carolina gold, made white planters wealthy, but it was built on the backs, the blood, and the knowledge of Africans from Nigeria and beyond. Even there, at the edge of the creek, our people refuse to be broken. Igbo Landing is not just a story of death, it is a sermon about choice. It tells us that freedom is not granted by governments, but claimed in spirit, that dignity is non negotiable, and that silence is not survival. And here's the part many forget. People often ask, "Why didn't y'all resist? Why didn't you fight back?" But the truth is, we did, again and again. These stories just got buried. This story at Dunbar Creek is proof. Our ancestors didn't just comply, they resisted in ways that textbooks rarely tell. And just to remind you what 1803 meant, it was the same year that the United States was celebrating the Louisiana Purchase, calling it a new age of freedom for the nation while still enslaving Africans. Across the waters, the Haitian Revolution was reaching its final battles, proving that slavery could be overthrown and a black republic could rise. And here in Georgia, Igbo men and women from Nigeria were showing that same spirit, choosing dignity over bondage at Dunbar Creek. And that's why it's important to know your own history. So you can make your own references, carrying your own lessons, and never let anyone convince you that we come from quiet submission. We come from defiance. We come from dignity. We come from people who would rather die than live enslaved. So when the waters of life rise against us, we don't just swim, we sing because their voices are still in us. And what does freedom mean to you today in your own life? Remember to comment, like, and share, to help the algorithm. And subscribe for more stories that you won't see in your textbook. Peace.